I talk a lot about feelings, and also the fact that sometimes these feelings are not there and that they come and go. And usually I get a question like this: what if I haven't felt anything for over however long, a few months, a year? And does that mean it's just a fearful avoidant attachment style, or is it the relationship? And this is a hard one to answer, because it is not black and white as much as I would like it to be for you. But we are going to talk about this in the safest way possible for your fear brain not to be triggered too much. So, first of all, I do want to say and mention that if you really haven't felt anything in over a year and you just feel very numb, please go see a professional, go see a doctor, because it could very well be that you are suffering from depression. And depression is just, it's such a beast in the way that um, you can slide into it and not really notice it, and just get more and more numb and not really even noticing how numb you are. So when you notice that you haven't really felt anything in over a year, please go see a professional, go see a doctor, get it checked out, because that could come from so many things. It could have to do with trauma, obviously. It could also have to do with lifestyle, diet, other health issues that you have. There's so much that could be at play here. So please, 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 I'm not a medical professional. Um, Please go to somebody that knows more about this, that can actually diagnose a depression, and get that checked out, because it could be that you are suffering and that you are thinking that it is a relationship when it isn't, and you are actually struggling and suffering from a depression, and you really deserve all the best help that you can get then. The second point I wanted to mention is that um, if you haven't felt anything in over a year, the fearful avoidant attachment style, usually you have these moments where you do know that you want to be with your partner, and you are very afraid to lose them, and you see that future together. And it sometimes that doesn't happen very often, but usually you do have those moments. For me, they were few and far in between for a while, I think for a year or 2 years. So it wasn't that I felt that every weekend. I wished I wished that I did at that time. Um, and I didn't feel a lot. Looking back, I think I was suffering from a depression, and I did not know. A depression and OCD. What I did know I was diagnosed with was generalized anxiety disorder, and I think they missed depression and OCD. That is just me self-diagnosing myself, so don't take that as medical advice either. But I still had these moments where I felt, even if it wasn't very intense, that I really did want to be with Aryan. There were also, just to be very, very clear, so many moments that I knew for sure that, well, that I was so afraid that I had to break up, and that this wasn't right, and that I didn't feel enough, and I should feel so much more, and I was just fooling myself, and I was just leading him on because I was too scared to break it up or break up. So it wasn't that I had this knowing the whole time. It's so easy to think that when you see now that I'm out of it, that I've healed. But it was just very confusing, because that's what the fearful avoidant attachment style is a lot of times. But I would say that if you haven't felt anything for over a year, and you haven't, in that whole year, have not had any moments where you do feel like, oh yeah, I want to be with this person, I am struggling, and I can see that it is my fear holding me back. I think I did kind of knew that with Aryan. When I was in my crash state, I had this inkling, even though it was an inkling, that it might have to do with my own fears. And mind you, this was before I knew anything about personal development, anything about attachment styles. Um, I had no idea. I didn't know anybody that had these intense doubts and stayed with their partner. So I thought I was making a big mistake by staying and I just had to break up. But you are here, so you are watching these videos, so you know about the fearful avoidant attachment style. And so when you recognize a lot from these videos and you do have this kind of inkling that you do want to be with your partner and they are actually just amazing partners and there is a big potential for love, but you are struggling and you are noticing your deactivation and you shutting off and you having all the patterns of the fearful avoidant attachment style, um, then it is so worth it to heal, to start healing, whether or not you have felt anything in the past year. Um, because if you recognize a lot from these videos, um, it goes further than just your own relationship, right? It's about a lot of other things. I want to say, and I do have to say, please don't just self-diagnose yourself with these videos. I am just trying to share from my experience with myself and a lot of the people I've helped. But that doesn't mean that I'm trying to diagnose you in whatever way. Um, but if you do know that you have trauma and you recognize a lot, it can really help to start healing. And then you might notice that you start having more feelings for your partner because it feels more safe to feel more. And then the last one is that I think when you maybe see my story, you think, oh, I have the fearful avoidant attachment style and I'm struggling and I am in a relationship that kind of looks good on the outside, so I have to stay. And I want you to know that you really don't have to stay for me. It this might sound weird, but I sometimes get that from people. Um, I just want you to know that you have a choice. And what the fearful avoidant attachment style sometimes does is take away that choice. It is telling you that you have to break up and you cannot be happy, even though all you want is to be happy in this relationship and not break up and just be with this partner because you have this inkling that you do love them so much. I want you to I want to give you that choice back. I want to give you that freedom back. But that means that if you want to break up, you can. Of course. It's not like you cannot break up because you have the fearful avoidant attachment style. If that's what you want, then that is completely fine. If you want to stay, then that is completely fine. You have that choice, and I know that's scary. I know you're so scared of making the wrong choice because you have a really hard time trusting yourself. But it really is as simple as, if you don't want to break up, you don't have to. That's what I want you to know. If you don't want to break up, you don't have to. No matter what that voice is screaming in your head, saying that you have to break up and that you're just too weak or whatever. If you don't want to break up, you don't have to. That's all I want you to know. So, like I said, this isn't a very clear-cut answer. I really hope this helped. And what I found when I didn't know whether it was a relationship or it was me, I decided I was going to heal for a year. I was going to work on myself for a year. I don't think I called it healing back then. But I was going to work on myself for a year. And for a year, I did everything I could possibly think of. I read so many books. I tried so many exercises, so many therapies. I went to a lot of therapists. And some of it worked, a lot of it didn't, because it wasn't really about the relationship, because my relationship with Aryan was quite good. It wasn't that we weren't communicating effectively and stuff like that. Um, it was about me, but it was also about relationships. And that was kind of an in-between where it was hard to figure out what I should do and what therapy I should do, because a lot of therapies were just focused on me, but I did want to talk about my relationship. Or they were completely about the relationship, but I knew, or I kind of thought that it might be me and my fears. So um, still, even with all of that, that year brought me so much growth and healing. And in that year, I started liking Aryan more and more and started feeling more and more, and being more attracted to him. So healing the fearful avoidant attachment style, even though I didn't know that that was what I was doing at the time, really did help me to see that I could allow more and more love in and receive more and more love from him. So that is, if you're not sure, one of the, I think, best ways to see, because if you do recognize yourself in the fearful avoidant attachment style a lot, it it is always valuable to heal, because you don't have to do it for your relationship. You're doing it for you. You're always healing for you. You are the only one that's going to be with you for the rest of your life, 100% guaranteed. And so the more you feel secure in yourself and you can trust yourself, that is just an investment for life. And that is you starting to look forward to the rest of your life and feeling good and allowing yourself to be happy. And then you can also notice, you might also notice that you start feeling better in the relationship, and you might get triggered less, and you start feeling more for your relationship, for your partner. And as I'm saying this, I'm thinking, oh, you might have the very common thought now, the fear brain thought, what if I heal and then I want to break up? I don't want that right now. And this is one of the beautiful ways your fear brain works to keep you in fear, because that means that you are not taking a step towards healing, which means you are staying in the exact position you are in, situation you are in right now. And that is what feels safe to your fear brain right now. So I was so scared of this too. When I started that year, I was so scared that after that year, I would find out or realize that I would want to break up with Aryan. And in the end, I didn't. So that is definitely not a truth. And also, I thought, well, you know what? We'll see about it then. We'll see about it then. I just don't know. And I was very scared to even think that, but I just wanted to heal. I knew I couldn't go on the way I was doing at that point. So that's why I chose healing. So if you want to heal, if you want to see where this comes from, and if you want to see how much better you can feel, please check the link in the description below for my online program, Healed and Happy, which is specifically focused on healing the fearful avoidant attachment style. And it is also designed to take your fear brain along for the ride. So when you have these fears like, oh, am I going to realize that this is not the one and I have to break up when I'm healed? It is all taken into account, and you will find so much more peace and calm and happiness. And the program will never ever lead you towards you have to choose whether or not you want to break up, because that is not the question. That is not the question. We are just focused on healing you, healing your fears, healing the fearful avoidant attachment style. And when you don't want to break up, you don't have to. Never. So let me know if this was valuable to you, if any other questions arose during watching this video. Please let me know in the comments below. And as always, I am so happy you are here, and I will see you in the next one.